Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to take this off because I find it rather annoying to wear sometimes. This is a monumental day. It is not often that civil rights are born and die in this chamber. And a civil right that was born in this chamber in 1976 by a former colleague of ours, Senator Frank Padovan, is passing away here today, led by Senator Bailey, for the right reason then, the right reason now. It's an odd thing to find yourselves at this moment. If you look back at the history of 50A, I think Senator Bailey touched on it earlier. The original intent of the law was to prevent attorneys from getting copies of personnel files of police officers, to impugn their testimony in criminal trials, to prevent them from being harassed by opportunistic attorneys. It is a law that has been misinterpreted by multiple courts and agencies over the decades, and it has led us to where we are now, and has created a level of distrust and a lack of transparency that has created such a sense of distrust amongst the public and law enforcement. And unlike some of my colleagues, I don't believe one bad cop spoils all of them. I believe that the vast majority of members of the police departments and law enforcement across the state are good people who get up every day, put on a uniform, and go to work to make sure that I get home every night and you get home every night. Are there bad ones there? Yes. Should they be dealt with? Absolutely. Should they be disciplined and prosecuted? No doubt. And should we make sure that happens quickly? Because that one bad apple can make everybody look bad. Heaven forbid we should be judged by the worst of those who have stood in this chamber. I've been in the Senate chamber 16 years. 9 of us, since I got here, have gone to prison. I would hate to be judged by their behavior. But we are here today doing something that the public has demanded. And I want to thank Senator Bailey because he didn't just do a straight-up repeal. He listened. I had the opportunity to talk to him, and I know he consulted the very people who are affected by this. And we were able to make him understand that a straight-up repeal was just not fair. That there are things that people do. Everybody makes a mistake at work. Everybody gets jammed up. There are disciplinary cases that have nothing whatsoever to do with whether or not you are a danger to the public or whether you're a decent cop. Everyone is late. Everyone calls in sick once too many times. Everyone has a bad day. Those records should not be made public. Your personal information shouldn't be made public. We should protect those things the way we do it for other public employees. He listened, he internalized that, and he put it into this law. But we need to go further, Senator Akshar. You talked about it earlier. We spoke about it in the Codes Committee. All public employees should have the ability to have unsubstantiated cases, including disciplinary cases where they were exonerated, expunged from their record. They don't have that now. I'm going to introduce legislation to do that because they should not remain in their file. We're going to repeal 50A. We're going to reform it today. We're going to provide the transparency that the public wants. But I would like to say, I've never been a cop, but I have been a union leader. And it disturbs me greatly to hear people say things like, some people shouldn't have a voice in work, or we should get rid of police unions. And I'm going to get very emotional about that, because the day comes when we start saying that any worker shouldn't have the right to have a voice at work, or we should strip them of their right to bargaining, or collective bargaining rights, or representation, what are we saying? I don't care if you like their union. I don't care if you like their union leader. Every worker in this country deserves collective bargaining rights. That is something that shouldn't even be subject to discussion. I'm going to vote for this bill, Senator Bailey, because I think you struck the right balance. But let us be careful when we start to talk about who should and shouldn't have rights in this country. Thank you, Mr. President.